Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. It is Friday, February 27th, 2026. I'm going live from the beautiful state of Pennsylvania in the United States of America. It's your humble brother Mervell. Welcome to my YouTube channel one more time. I haven't one of these lives in a very long time, and I feel like today I'm inspired to talk about living in America. And I say to myself, I can't be talking to myself, right? So I do have a YouTube channel, I do have a platform. Maybe I should hop on and talk about it, at least so people can hear what my thoughts are, so we can all discuss that in the comment section below and see things that we have in common and see if you agree with me or not from an African perspective living in America. And this could also interest Americans themselves living in this country. And then we're going to dive deep in the relocating movements that is currently taking place among Americans. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, hit the like button and please share this live stream with a friend, so that we can have more discussions like this. Happy Friday. Without further ado, let's jump straight to it. But before we do that, I'm going to allow a few more minutes for people to join the chat before we get the ball rolling. I cannot be talking to myself when the meter's still showing 0, because no one has tuned in yet. All right, so I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, probably 5 or maybe up to 10 minutes. If not enough people to join, that means people are not interested in the topic, which is fine. We'll just call it a day. We'll just pick another topic that we'll talk about. But in the meantime, while we wait for others to join, do me a favor, hit the like button, and in the comment section below, let me know where you're tuning in from, because as an African living in America, I can tell you this. If you feel like your life is getting more difficult and it feels like you've been here for so long and you don't seem to see at the end of the tunnel, you're not alone in this. A lot of people are experiencing the same thing you are experiencing. I've moved to America since I've been living in America for 14 straight consecutive years. And I'll tell you one thing. When I look back, I say to myself, what if I accomplished for the past 14 years I've lived in America? Probably nothing. However, moving to United States as a 19-year-old, I used to think that I will make so much money at a short period of time that I will buy properties, I will start real estate business, and so on and so forth, like in my country, and I will make so much money, people will be surprised to what I'm capable of until I set boot on the ground in the US, and then the reality hit differently. Ladies and gentlemen, understand one thing. There is no perfect country in this world. You can go anywhere in the world. There will always be pros and cons of living in each places. Whether you're from Africa, you're from Asia, you're from Europe, you're from America, you're from Oceania, whatever you're from, you will experience some ups in your society and some downs, right? So as an African living in America, I'm starting to see one pattern. People are on paper making good money, but the quality of life, it is extremely poor. Many people tend to complain about their livelihood in the United States while they're making money. Whereas we have a lot of brothers and sisters in the continent who want to come to America looking for employment opportunity, looking for a better life. But those that are here making money are complaining about living in America and they would like to relocate back to the continent. But then you will ask me, well, if that is the case, why aren't they moving back? The answer is very simple. You know, the money you make, it is subject to federal and state taxes in America, depending on the states you live in. Some states, they have federal income taxes only, they don't have state taxes. Some states, they have state taxes, they don't have federal income taxes, and so on and so forth. 20 up to 30, I don't even know what the percentage at this point anymore. That's deducted out of your paychecks when you get paid. You don't even get to, like, the money doesn't even get to you. Before even you get your check, the government had already taken out what they need to take out, and then they send you the rest. You pay your rent, you pay your mortgage, you make your car payment, you pay utility bills, you pay for your car insurance, you pay for your medical insurance. After making all the payments, you see yourself left with pretty much nothing at all. And then you wait for the next paycheck to do exactly the same thing. Everything is calculated here in America. Don't let anybody fool you. Many people coming to America with the idea that they will make so much money and just like move back and all of a sudden they're rich. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the reality at all. When people get here, first of all, you start from the scratch. I don't care what you had. I don't care. They don't care about your college degree. They don't care about any of that. In order for you to be a working professional, you will still have to go to the school to get the education. You will have to prove to them that you are qualified, but you will need to have something from here that qualifies you to exploit your knowledge and your college degree. But you will not just walk in here with a master's degree from wherever and then they're just about to give you a job. That's not how things work here in America, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Guys, us Africans, we even had it more difficult compared to other foreign nationals, and I'm going to explain to you why. Many Africans living abroad, they are still tied back to their country of origin. They send money back home, they send money to their family, friends, and other acquaintances or even relatives, because a lot of people in the continent are under the assumptions that if you live in the West, you have money. You have more money to spend. And that's why if they're sick, if something happened to them, they get into an accident, they need something, they need to throw a party or whatever, you're the first person that they need to call. They pick up the phone, they ring you, and then they expect you to send them money to finance all of that. Whereas the reality here is that sometimes people send money back home to help their family, friends, and then they end up with negative balance in their bank account. Guys, if you have a brother, a sister, a friend living abroad who sends you money, do not complain about how much money they send you. Be more grateful and thankful that you even received the money. Because the reality of making money, especially here in America, it's not easy. There are homeless people who have full-time job. And well, you will ask me, no, that's some nonsense. You can go online, the information is available. All you have to do, go on YouTube search engine, type it in, you will see tons of stories. That is showing you that the living cost in America, it is increasing every year, but the living wage is not increasing at all to match the living standards. People are making money, but the cost of living continue to increase. Mortgages are going up, rents are going up, but people's salaries are not. They remain the same. That's why a lot of people end up with 2, even 3 jobs so that they have enough money to pay the rent and keep up with their bills so that they won't get the eviction notice. But what that does to your health, to your body, it is pretty much rushing you to death more quickly. Because first of all, when you work in 2 or 3 jobs, you barely have enough time to sleep. And when you don't sleep enough, it's what happens when you're driving to and from work. A lot of people are dozing off while they are driving, and that is causing a lot of fatal crashes. I've had friends, including myself, who risk car accidents from sleeping behind the wheels. Not because you're doing it on purpose, but because you are working these double shifts, because this is the only option you have. You're thinking about sending money back home, then you're thinking about paying your bills here. At the same time, you have a life, you have to buy groceries, you have to keep up with everything around you. And then people end up with multiple jobs. They don't even have enough time to socialize with their families or friends. Or even married couples in America, they do not even have time to enjoy one another's company because everybody is out there making money to bring income to the family so that the kids are well taken care of, and the support system is non-existent in America. Guys, for some of you wanting to move to America, I would suggest that you watch videos like this to get a perspective and an understanding of what you're getting yourself into. I always advise people who have already started a family back home to consider their decision to move their whole family here very closely, right? If you want to bring your children here to benefit from the education system, you could. But when it comes down to living a good quality of life, trust me, that is going to impact your relationship and the family dynamic. Believe me, you will not have enough time to spend with your spouse as much as you should. And that's why it's leading to a lot of divorce cases in courtrooms across America. And a lot of people, they don't want to talk about this, but this is one of the leading causes of high divorce rates in America. Because when a man has to bring something on the table and a woman has to bring something on the table, yes, financially you may be stable, but what is the family foundation? You're not around enough to see the kids growing up. There are testimonies of families who are like the households where husband and wife, they live together, not divorced, but they didn't spend enough time with the kids. Why? Because they always had to spend time at work. Children didn't have enough time to spend with their parents because when they are expecting daddy to be at home, daddy is working overtime. When daddy gets off work, the children are asleep. When daddy gets home, there's nobody awake. The mom is already at work working. By the time daddy wakes up the next morning, the children are still asleep. And then they go to school. They may communicate through phone calls. Maybe on day offs, they spend time together, which is for the most part not enough time. Usually when on most people's day off, especially here in America, I can only speak for America because this is where I live. I'm well equipped to tell you the way of life here in America. When on day off, most people want to catch up on things they didn't have time to do throughout the week, whether it is clean around the house, whether it is work on certain things that needs fixing, or even if you had things that broke down throughout the week, you had contractor coming through, you have to stick around with them, and once that's done, you need to go grocery shopping, and by the time all of that it is over with, you are tired all over again. You want to get some sleep and then end up taking your family out for like 3, 4, 5 hours, which isn't enough versus how many hours you have every week. And sometimes, depending on the family financial demands, on your day off, you may still want to pick up overtime to make up for some bills that you may have. Don't even get me started on credit card debt. Everybody living in America has some sort of debt. even if you claim that you have paid off all your debts, but there is still some things for your conveniences that you will need to make payments on a monthly basis to keep up with it. In order for me to go live from my cell phone while I'm driving, that means I pay my phone bill. All right. So if my phone bill wasn't paid, I wouldn't have had internet to be able to communicate this with you. Whereas in Africa, for instance, our phone providers don't require a monthly payments to maintain your cellular phone. Having gigabytes on your phone to have access to internet, it it's pretty much up to you and how much money you are willing to spend to communicate with friends, family, and other relatives, right? Which is different if you buy your cell phone and making phone calls. All you have to do, you go to the shop, you buy the calling cards, you download it, and then start making phone calls. If you don't have money, you cannot afford it at the time, you can expect phone calls or text messages, or for the most part, what people do, they will buy this calling cards. It gives them certain amount of text messages to at least maintain communication with their loved ones without even having to make direct phone calls. At least they have the option. Whereas here in America, if you do not want to pay your phone bill, that is fine. Nobody is going to hold a knife against your throats if you don't do that. However, in order for you to be able to use your internet, you will either have to be somewhere where Wi-Fi is available to make phone calls or to read your emails and things of that nature, right? And if you see people driving around Cadillacs, Mercedes, BMWs, Lamborghini in America, chances are it's still not paid off. It's still probably owned by the bank who loaned them the money to have the car. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we have the credit system. So when they run your credits, they think that you qualify. Even with people with bad credits, they can still qualify. But the only downside of that is you will have much higher interest rates versus your average people with good credit score, right? But everybody can purchase a vehicle. When you see people driving around in these cars, don't assume they're living a good quality of life just because they're driving something. The moment they miss a couple of payments, that car is getting repossessed by the bank, and then that person is no longer a car owner. You see people flashing their car, their houses on social medias, taking pictures in front of their huge houses. Probably they still have 25 more years to go until the house is paid for. And mind you, you will have to stay alive and be in good health condition. Otherwise, if you can't keep up with any of this, the government repossess your property anyways. And even if your property it is paid off, you still owe property taxes in addition to that. So technically, you really don't own anything here in this country. So guys, I want you to understand one thing. If you feel like you're not getting anywhere in life in America, those are one of the reasons. You know, those are one of the reasons. From whereas some of you from other parts of the world who invite American way of life based on Hollywood movies that most of you watch and see, and you think that is going to be the same reality when you move to America, brothers and sisters, let me tell you this. Those are filmmakers. They do that for a living. They make things look the way it does to make money. So they sell a dream to you. Hollywood sold a dream to the world. People from around the world move to America for opportunities that they see from these Hollywood movies. But when they get here, they realize what you pretty much have to trade your soul for these quote unquote opportunities, right? Because I believe that you do not need two jobs to survive anywhere in this world. Your one job should be enough to finance your lifestyle. Do not even get me started on healthcare. In America, America is then, well, China eventually will, take the position, but as of now, America is the strongest economy in the world. With everything America spend the money on, but they cannot afford to provide adequate health care to American citizens here in America. If you live in America, pray that you do not catch a pre-existing medical conditions, or if you already have one, you are doomed. I've seen people lose their homes. I've seen people lose things that they possess. They work their entire life to pay for medical expenses, and eventually they either move back with their children or the family members because they cannot afford to maintain their properties or everything they have built throughout their whole career. And now it makes more sense to cut the costs by moving back with their children or someone from the family, if they're even willing to take you in, so that the money they have will allow them to stay alive long enough. Whereas in other developed countries, the healthcare system is better, and all of that, it is also caused by this poisonous food that the agriculture industry feed the American population. And it is not their fault. It is the regulation and the laws voted in Congress to make these people richer while undermining our citizens' health. They do not care about quality. They only care about quantity. In America, most people's health are deteriorating due to poor food choices. In America, to eat healthy, it will cost you a lot of money. You have to eat organic food. You have to spend way more money to eat healthy in America. Whereas the majority of the population, the vast majority of the population in America, they have starving or living wages. Let's just be honest about that. And the only thing they can afford is this GMO food. And what it does to your body, if you see people gaining weights, it's not because they are living a good life or they're eating good, it's because they're eating junk food. Growing up in Africa, there was a misconception that, seeing all this obese people in America, it's a sign of eating good. But then as time goes by, people realize that, oh snap, it is not. That is actually an epitome. There's a lot of obese people in America. It's because of what they eat, what they choose to eat. Where versus in Africa, most our food we consume are fresh, and it's a promotion of good health. We are better. Every time I'm in Africa, when I eat, my body feels different from the quality of meat we consume in America. If you're not relating to this, if you grew up in America, you've never been anywhere else, chances are you have a different taste of pig, chicken, cow, and others based on what you grew up consuming. But I challenge you, and including fruits, the moment you leave America, you go to another country, you try these meats, I guarantee you it will taste 10 times better than what you think it actually tastes like. My very first meal when I first came to America 14 years ago, it was pork ribs. I'm eating food without recognizing the taste of the meat. So I asked my cousin, what am I eating? He said pork ribs. I said, bullshit. Pork ribs taste anything like this. You know what he told me? He said, that's exactly what we said when we first came here. You will get used to it. At that point, I realized something was wrong. So As an African guy, we spend way more money on grocery shoppings than average Americans because most of our African foods are imported and they have to tax it because they were taxed coming into the country. So now they have to sell it at a price so that they can also make profits, which is reasonable. It's a good business model, right? But I would rather that than eat all this junk food. And then now I have so many health issues to like all my 401k accounts, my pension end up paying for my medical condition and leaving me with pretty much nothing. And if you're planning on leaving America, you're probably not wrong. You just have to do your research and see you fit before you make the move. I guarantee you, especially foreigners living in America, that includes me, this country is good to make money and then move somewhere else. That's what Africans do. And when I see all of this hate going on online, go back to your country, you don't belong here, all of that other bullshit, guys, most people in America that are here from other countries, unless they were legitimately persecuted from their country and they seek asylum in America and got the immigration status, legal immigration status, they probably would not go back to their country. They may find somewhere else to go that is a good equivalent to their country of origin. But trust me, most people do not want to die in America. They do not want to stay here. And that now includes Americans themselves. How many Americans now are moving to other countries because they are realizing that their money go further when they move to other countries versus things are incredibly overpriced in America for no apparent reason. Living in America or in the West in general, it is costly. It's not cost friendly for no reason. Housing markets is overpriced. Cost of vehicles are incredibly expensive. But when all of that is happening, one thing is not happening to match that. It is people's salary. If you are blessed to have a good job that pay good money, have a great career, you're probably one of the top 5%. But not everybody in America is in that position. I work in the city of Philadelphia. Trust me, what I do for a living, I come across all kinds of stuff. And there are certain things I cannot talk about as long as I'm still working here to protect my career. But when I retired, I could write a whole book or even books about what I've seen so far, the stuff people go through in America. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, I encourage you to fly. If you've never been outside of America, book a flight, whether it is in Africa, in Asia, anywhere else outside of the Western world. Experience what life is like, and you will be so much more appreciated. I'm gonna tell you something about me. Whenever I am vacationing in my home country, which is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, I have the best time of my entire life, from hanging out with friends, catching up with families, going on adventures, discovering new things and seeing things that are happening there, the food, the culture, the music, all of that. And when it is time for me, as my countdown started getting closer and closer, and now the reality starts to hit, where now I'm starting to be reminded that I'm going back to America, I start getting anxiety. I start feeling frustrated. Why? Because I don't want to come back. Because I feel like I'm being treated like a queen, like a king. I don't want to miss out on that. But I don't have a choice because I do not own a company that makes me money there. I don't have a reliable source of income that would, make my way of life there possible to stick around longer. That's why when I'm here, when I'm coming back, I'm always sad. And it's funny because a lot of my friends or even my family, they also pick up on that. And they see my face, they're like, bro, why do you look so sad? And I'm like, y'all don't understand. I get that you want to come to America where I'm at, but I don't want to go back to America because I live there. I know the deal. I want to stay here, but I can't. And then they call me crazy. They say all types of stuff. And I say, I would love for you to come to move to America legally, live here for a couple of years, and then take a trip back home. You will feel me. You will sympathize with me. That's at least how I feel. I don't know if you share the same experience when you go back to your home country and coming back to America. I do not. I don't care about the infrastructures because bro, come on, man. Your peace of mind, it is paramount. Your mental health, it's worth more than trading your soul living in America. As long as you're here in America, you will always complain. We all do. I complain all the time. I mean, not that I'm not to brag about anything. I make pretty good money. I make 6 figures, right? But it still feels like the same when I used to make $10 an hour when I first came to America. Because the more money you make, the more problems you have. You upgrade a lot of things. That's how money works. Unfortunately, if you were making $1,000 a month, you would do things within your means to make sure you have a little bit left. But when you go from $1,000 to $10,000, things around you will change. And that's kind of like how life goes. Let me know what you thought about this life in the comment section down below. Let me grab this comments real quick. How to get diamonds to send you something. I don't know how to get diamonds. I'm sorry. All those payments suck, bro. Yes, it does suck. I'll tell you one thing. I was supposed to buy a house last year. I did a lot of thinkings. I said, there's no rush. I'll just keep saving my money. Something was just not convincing me to purchase a property. Because I have a lot of friends, from my coworkers, my Congolese folks. We talk a lot about these things. And it seems like everybody's complaining about something. And then I even have friends who are legit telling me, like, if they had known what they know now about home ownership, they wouldn't have bought a house when they did buy a house. I understand, like, the equity, all of that, you increase your, you building something towards your mortgage and stuff like that. But bro, what's the point of buying a house if you're not planning on living here for the rest of your life? Because as a tenant, my landlord is responsible for everything that breaks down around the house. He's responsible for it. I just have to pay the rent, pay my utility bills, and I'm chilling. The moment you own a property, if something breaks down, and these things, they're not cheap either. It's like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, depending on what you fixing around the house, right? So guys, people are right back into further debt before they purchase the property, because they'll tell you eliminate all your debt, do this, do that, make sure you pay off all your credit cards debts. Cool, to make it look good when you're purchasing your first house. But then when you do that, a couple of months later, something breaks down, whether it is your heating system, your cooling system, whatever, and then they're charging you $15,000-$20,000 to get that fixed. A couple of months after buying your property, you're back into debt. And more things break down, you keep getting further in debt. Why? Because a lot of Americans don't have just money laying around in their bank account they can spend. When things happen, like in case of emergencies like that, especially if you got kids, you need to live in the best comforts of your homes, right? The way forward, it is applying for a loan or a credit card to pay for these things, to fix things around the house. And when you do that, now you get into another payment plan and your life is back where it was, or even way worse before you purchase the property. That's why you need to think twice before you do anything in this country. Every decision you make could impact you badly in America. That's why it is very, very necessary to take your time to do your research before you do anything in terms of like long-term investment, long-term decisions. You are very encouraged to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you thought of this live stream. All your comments, drop it in the comment section down below. Let's have a more mature and civilized debate in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until the next live stream, I will talk to you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Happy Friday, and enjoy your weekend. Until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Oh, on this note, you guys stay tuned. I will be traveling somewhere in Africa next month. It is coming up soon. I will vlog. Please turn the alerts on. Stay tuned. I will be sharing my experience with you guys. Until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.